guys, what is going on? And welcome back to Black Entertainment. Thanks once again, you guys, for all tuning into yet another Call of Duty Black Ops 2 gameplay. Really stoked to be bringing you guys another Black Ops 2 gameplay. But in this video, we're going to be talking about the top 5 Call of Duties of all time. This is going to be a very fun video, you guys. This is going to be an absolute blast. We all know Black Ops 3 is coming out very shortly. Black Ops 3 comes out in November of 2015, so I'd like to reflect on some of the greatest Call of Duties to ever be made. Unfortunately, in this list, I am going to be leaving out Call of Duty 1, 2, and 3. I know the original Call of Duties did start the Call of Duty series. I know those were absolute classics due to the fact that they started everything. I mean, if it wasn't for those first 3 Call of Duties, Call of Duty would not be where it is today. But there's been so much more advancements in Call of Duty that I'm gonna have to leave those off the list. So I'm sorry to anybody who absolutely loved those games. I have nothing against them. Trust me, Call of Duty 1 and Call of Duty 2 were awesome. Call of Duty 3 is a little iffy in my opinion, but Call of Duty 1 and 2 were absolutely wicked, but those are going to be off the list. So coming in at number 5 for the top 5 Call of Duties, I'm going to have to go with Modern Warfare 2. At the time of its release, not anymore. You go play Modern Warfare 2 now, it is oversaturated with noob tubes, interventions. It's an absolute shit show out in MW2 at the moment. But upon the release of MW2, yes, we did have one-man army noob tubes. This is basically when the whole quick scoping age was introduced into Call of Duty. But there were so many good things about MW2, it only felt necessary to give it the number 5 spot. If you think about the previous Call of Duties before MW2, it was Call of Duty 4 and Call of Duty World at War. I almost said Call of Duty World at War 2. That would be awesome. That would probably be number 1. But Call of Duty World at War. And these Call of Duties were very basic. And upon the release of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Call of Duty completely changed as a whole. There was so many guns introduced into the game. There were so many more different maps involved in the game. Not only that, but you had kill streaks that you could pick what you wanted to use. And going from Call of Duty World at War to MW2, it was such a huge jump that I really felt that MW2 deserves a number 5 spot. And not for that, I mean, if you go back and look at MW2, it had some of the greatest guns of all time. It had some of the greatest maps of all time. It definitely had its problems, don't get me wrong, but it was an overall great game upon its release. And then if you go on to number 4, I'm gonna have to go with Call of Duty Black Ops 2. The reason being is because Call of Duty Black Ops 2 was an overall great game. It had its problems, but it had very minimal problems compared to other Call of Duties. I mean, Black Ops 2, everybody loves that game. Everybody played that game. It did have LMG target finders. It had a few maps that a lot of people didn't like, but besides that, it had great kill streaks. Probably some of the best kill streaks to ever be introduced into any Call of Duty to date, and that's what really captured my attention, and that's why I put Black Ops 2 at number 4. And if we move on to number 3, I'm gonna have to go with Call of Duty 4. Again, Call of Duty 4 was a game changer upon its release, and it was the first Call of Duty to be released on, at the time, the next gen consoles. That I'm talking PS3 and Xbox 360, and it was of course out for PC. And this game was absolutely amazing. If you think of COD 4, I think of the great maps, the great weapons, and the M4, or oh shit, you guys are gonna kill me right now. I just totally went blank. I had it on my head, and I totally just lost it. It was the M40A3. There it is with the ACOG scope. That thing was so wicked. Then we're moving on to number 2. I'm going to have to go with Call of Duty World at War. And this was a tough choice because I really wanted to put World at War at the number 1 position. But there was a few things within the game that it had some problems with. But for the most part, World at War was a very simplistic Call of Duty game and one of the best Call of Duty games to date. Great weapons, great weapon balancing, great maps, and it introduced what we all love, Nazi zombies. And that's why Call of Duty World at War is such a great game. It had so many addicting factors to that game that you just could not put the controller down. But again, it had its problems like Juggernaut, tanks, but besides that, great game. Moving on to number 1 for the best Call of Duty game of all time, we're gonna have to go with the original Call of Duty Black Ops. This game was by far, I believe, one of the best Call of Duties, and in my opinion, the best Call of Duty to date. Great weapons, great maps, very well balanced, and not much to bitch about, which is really hard to do for a Call of Duty game. So that's my list, you guys. That's my top 5. If you agree, let me know down below. If you disagree, let me know in the comments. What is your top 5 Call of Duties of all time? Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll talk to you guys next time.